Good afternoon. Welcome back to Lest We Forget Historical. And we're still continuing about scams. I thought I would bring to your attention the latest scams you need to be aware of for 2024. Lest We Forget is sponsored by Passionate World Talk Radio Network, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC, to educate, to enlighten, and to entertain. And I'm your host, Lillian Cauldwell. We've just finished up the past 2 weeks talking about political scams, fake information, misleading statements, and just not playing nicely with the other political candidates or elected officials in the large political sandbox. And so today I'm going to give you a variety of scams that are circulating 2024 this year and how to recognize them, those red flags that people seem to miss, and some of the remedies you can employ so you can keep your shirt, your financial retirement savings, and not to mention your mental health. So the first one, and this is an article brought to you by Experian, and they give you a quick answer about who are scammers. They say scammers might use the new technology, which is AI, and the recent events, which are now happening, mostly political, but there are inflation worries and retirement savings and 401ks, which are all open to be scammed by the people overseas who have made $1 trillion business out of it. And they go after, as I mentioned already, artificial intelligence, loan forgiveness, and also to telling you that something's wrong with your parents or loved one. In fact, even today, I received an email about somebody from Florida who spent over $1,300 and sent it over to PayPal to go through my account. Fortunately for me, I have PayPal's fraud protection, and they reviewed the invoice and decided it was a scam, notified me, told me not to click on anything. In fact, my best bet was to delete it. If you do receive an invoice coming into your email and you do not recognize it, the advice I was given was don't open it at all, just delete it, because it probably is a scam. And unless you actually start interacting with that false, misleading invoice, you are not liable to pay it. Some other things you may want to do, and I've done with my charge card companies, there are some things that I'm allergic to, some things that I can't do, some places worldwide I cannot visit for various and sundry reasons. My credit card security has been warned why I can't, and should they receive bills being charged against my credit cards, they should be aware that it probably is not mine. And you're going to say, Lily, does it work? And I can honestly say, yes, it does. It has saved me a lot of scam bills, especially one of them from 10 years ago where the person went out and bought expensive camera and video equipment to a tune of $10,000, which I was not responsible before because they knew, A, I couldn't go to that place, B, there are certain conditions, weather conditions I can't be exposed to, and C, they knew it was a fake. So if you have something that is known only to you and your doctor, and you feel that you can share it with your credit card company so they can be in the lookout for people who wish to scam you, let them know, because it may save you a lot of embarrassment, but more important, a lot of money that you never spent in the first place. So the first one is AI powered scams. And scammers, like everybody else, is making use of AI. So what must you be aware of? Well, scammers use AI, like I do, to write more convincing and natural sounding phishing emails and text messages. They also can create deep fakes of celebrities to trick victims into thinking they're investing in a good company or a project, something they call romance scams. And I'll have more about that in my new program. New podcast starts June 3rd called Scam Damnation, where I will invite you to come along on my personal journey of being scammed twice and what's happened and what has happened to me personally. And then we're going to go on, and I'm going to invite people to come on and talk about their scamming difficulties, because they go after the most vulnerable people on this planet, which always happens to be women, mostly senior women, but they do go after women. And it needs to be stated over and over again so that you understand that when you put yourself in the hands of a scammer, they can wipe you out totally, worse than any Ponzi scheme. To go back on, they impersonate a victim's friend or family member or a relative and ask for money as part of a grandparent scam. So if you're a grandparent, the first thing you do is, when you hear this desperate note saying, help me, is to call up that particular grandchild or call up your kids and find out whether they indeed have been stolen, misplaced, in jail, to protect yourself. Because when you get that fight and flight stage in your mind, you panic. You start fearing the worst. And that's what they're playing on. They're playing on your emotions to make you act without thinking twice about should you really believe them or not. They will impersonate an employer and ask for personal information. Never, ever, I don't care who you are, give out your social security number. Now, I've been told by my daughter-in-law that for $50 she can get all the information she needs on me from the black side, the dark side of computer land, in that black hole space where all the baddies hang out. And that may be true. I'm not doubting it. But I'm saying that don't make it easy on them. Don't give them personal information. Another best is they'll ask you for your username and your password to get into your checking account, your personal account, to access your assets. And just say no. It's kind of like drugs and sex. Just say no. And then disconnect immediately. Don't start trying to reason with them, because these people don't reason. They play on your gut and on your emotions, and that's what they're banking on, that you'll succumb to. The potential to create an image and video with a voice of someone else, maybe your favorite movie star, man or woman, can make existing scams even more believable. They're calling them romance scams. Number one problem in the United States. I will tell you, your bank has the right legally to freeze your account to keep you from using money out of it if they feel you're caught up in a romance scam. They also have the right to go to a judge and have him issue a court order to close down and freeze your accounts for a specified amount of time until they feel that the danger is over. You may want to contact your particular bank and ask them about what their laws and statements are in effect to your checking accounts or your personal account. And even the charge cards that you get from the bank to help you pay or defer payment on some things like shopping for groceries or liquor or for clothing or renting a car or an emergency like going to the hospital. If you're not using an ambulance, you're liable for sitting around for 2 or 3 days waiting to be seen. But that's another story. The second type of scam going around is the student loan forgiveness scam. So what does that involve? This is the changes that students have to pay with high interest rates on the loans to get them through their 4 or 5 year journey just to get a bachelor's degree. And of course, the ante goes up when they go in for their master or their doctorate degree. Most scammers know that these people want to believe that their student loans will be forgiven, and they use that hope, the scammers, for their own personal gain. For example, a scammer may contact you via phone or create phony application sites aimed at stealing your social security number or your bank account information. They may put pressure on you, their victim, with fake urgent messages that encourage you to apply for debt relief before it's too late. Then they charge you a hefty application fee. Folks, it's a scam. It costs nothing to apply for the student loan forgiveness, so someone asking you to pay a fee could be a scammer. In addition, the U.S. Department of Education won't contact you by phone. You can stay safe and avoid student loans forgiveness scams by going directly to the Department of Education website for information about applying for forgiveness. Number 3 on the list are phone scams. So what is a phone scam? Well, scammers contact you by phone, and they rely on the smartphone's capabilities to access the internet and to install malware. What is malware? Apps that can actually track all your information back to the scammer. That's why with and when you are scammed, you need to take your laptop or your desktop tower or your tablet and even your cell phone into a reliable company that can clean up and find this malware. So what kind of malware could they install? Robocalls. Have people phones ringing nonstop with increasingly natural sounding recorded voices. I can't tell the difference. Maybe you have a better ear than I do. They may offer everything from auto warranties to vacations or issue a threat to try and get your attention. Some robocalls even respond to your questions. Impersonators. Scammers impersonate IRS personnel, police, survey takers, relatives, delivery people, and well-known companies to threaten you or gain your trust. They use scare tactics related to your social security number, criminal record, or account before asking for your personal account or credit card information. Don't give that information over the phone. It's not safe anymore. Apps. Scanners may try to get you to install a malicious app to steal your information, or they may create a nearly identical copy of an existing app and then make money from in-app purchases. When in doubt, don't. If it smells too good, it probably is. Don't. QR codes, they're quite popular now. Even at PWTRN, we use them for people to sign up, to read blogs, and yes, to pay. However, these codes have gained popularity as a touchless option to do things like read a restaurant menu or make a payment. Scammers, however, place their QR codes in inconspicuous spots, and scanning the code could prompt you to make a small purchase or enter your credentials on a lookalike website. Yeah, the stuff is getting scary. Then you have SIM swapping. This technique is used by a thief to reassign your number to an SIM card in a phone they control. They can then try to log into your accounts using codes or links sent to your phone number. Contact your carrier to see if there's any security measures for stopping SIM swapping. Also, see if your accounts are being tracked. There's an SMS multi-factor authentication option, such as an authenticator app that the scammer can't steal or access. Look into that if you feel like you're being taken advantage of. And then a one-time password, which is called OTP. Bots. Some scammers use these OTP bots to trick people into sharing the authentication codes. The scammer might try to log in, prompting the bank to send you a one-time code. At the same time, the bot initiates the company and calls, texts, or emails you asking for the code. The timing might convince you that the bot's request is legitimate. However, if you respond, it sends the code to the scammer, who can then log into your account. Am I scaring you? Good, because that's how I got held up twice for being scammed. And you have to be warned, and you need to warn your children, your nephews and nieces, even friends of the family. So this is the first part of the current 2024 scams that's happening today. It's not just happening here, it's also happening all over the world. All the Western nations are being under attack. You can hear this Lest We Forget historical episode all over again on youtube.com/PWR network, underline PWR radio, on https://passionateworldtalkradio.com, and all the major social media websites, YouTube, facebook.com/Passionate World Radio, LinkedIn, Tumblr. Go take a listen. Commercial supporting the station on June 11th, which is a Tuesday, and June 13th, which is a Thursday, at 4 p.m. Eastern, host Lillian Cauldwell, a 19-year veteran of podcasting, will hold 2 webinars discussing the 7 C's of communication, the art of an interview, giving one and receiving one, and mastering your people skills for podcasting. Empower your voice. And then, if you're interested after the webinar, she also offers a 2-month training program where you receive a certificate of achievement, the potential to intern at her station for 3 months. The podcast you create within the training session, you get to air for the first 3 weeks, 1 podcast per week. And then after the 3 months internship, you may even receive an offer to become a host on PassionateWorldTalkRadio.com. Please go over to education.PassionateWorldTalkRadio.com/masterclass, and all the information is there to either sign up for the 2 webinars or to sign up for the training course. Questions? Text us 484-36 or email us on pwrnetworkllc@gmail.com. Thank you very much. See you next week for a continuation of the current scams going on in the year 2024.